Genshin has changed, and it is undoubtedly because of Stygian Onslaught. I really feel like Stygian Onslaught has changed the way I view Genshin at this point, because Stygian is not about, hey, which character does more damage. As much as that seems like what it's about, it really is about what gimmicks are you fighting against and what teams can this character work on. Now, let's just get straight into the meat. The way we judge characters has completely shifted. It used to be that whoever can really get a fast clear time very consistently on a lot of abysses is good. That sort of works the same with Stygian. However, it's no longer like we're looking at one team. We are now looking at, Mavuika Burn, right? Nobody in their right mind would have thought that Mavuika Burn would have ever been a a genuinely optimal somewhat team, right? Now, it may not be the best team. Obviously, you can still use Melt Mavuika on Papilla. But if we're looking at Papilla, this man, if you burn him, it's a way easier fight. You do so much of a shield god, and if you can just kill him like that, it's easy. However, if you're doing Melt, you do have to make sure Lolly gets her energy regen correctly, and all of the, everything works out because you start at 0 energy now. Genshin has absolutely changed because there's no reasonable way to judge a character now based on just clear times. Because at this point, we have seen a character like Chaska clear the content in like 5 out of 6 times. And that is good because most characters really aren't clearing that many times, right? We have had 6 different sort of bosses, and she has cleared 5 out of 6 times. Now, characters like Mavuika can obviously do that. However, a character like Itto, you're really being carried by his own team. Now, Itto, I'm assuming he can just beat the entire, Stygian right now, but it is purely because of his own team, right? So characters like that can work, and that's the sort of the same boat that Chaska's in, right? She is in that same boat. However, Chaska's doing a lot better of that job because she is a character who is actually providing something, whereas, if you look at C0R1 Itto, he's not really providing much. His energy is an issue. It's a whole thing, right? So we are now stuck with sort of a weird feeling of, this character, Skirk, can be as strong as she wants. However, she's relegated to freeze. So against the Lava Dragon statue, this character was useless. She was. I mean, I guess you could use only Cryo, but I think the Lava Dragon statue, it wasn't just Hydro, it was Cryo too. Completely nullified. So this character gets completely nullified purely because they are Cryo. Completely nullified. So that automatically puts her at 5 out of 6. I don't think I went in and did every single boss with Skirk. I think I tried to. Certainly in this Stygian, I think I could definitely do it. Just slap a Nephil in, Skirk's team. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. So, Genshin has changed in that regard. Very, very much so. It seems like we're now more so looking at, how many stages can you clear rather than how fast can you clear all the stages, right? Again, Abyss. You look at Abyss and it's like, okay, Nevi. Nevi was getting insanely good clear times and he was getting them very consistently. Whereas now, again, he still can do that, obviously, but it's not as important that he can do it. It's more important that he can clear it in the first place. So, and he's been a very good character to clear in the first place because now, let's talk about the second part, team diversity. It is a huge thing that just plopped on with Stygian, and it's like, yo, you want more teams than just your signature best in slot. That is something we have not seen ever in this game. Ever. I mean, other than a situation where Lolly doesn't necessarily jive well with the enemies, right? So you go ahead and you throw Fiorino on the team. Other than a situation like that in, Abyss, you never really saw a team where you had to nerf it because, it just doesn't work, right? There were times, specific scenarios, but now you're not able to go through the entire Stygian with Melt Mavuika. Like, you can try, you can be successful, but you know what you're going to have a 10 times better time doing? Throwing a Nefa on Mavuika's team, which is something that nobody looked at and was like, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing, you know, when an NFA comes out. Nobody. After seeing the way that it seems like Stygian's going, basically, you can't just have one team for one character. You really can't. You are promoted so heavily for summoning on multiple characters rather than the same character. You are. Because Risley, sure, he can clear everything, but he can clear everything with the right supports, with Anefa, right? Do you think that this C3 was better than possibly skipping out on Anefa? It wasn't. It just wasn't. You know, we could talk about that being the case in a lot of other things, but beforehand, you didn't have to even ask the question because, like, he was gonna kill everything anyways, right? Because Abyss was also easier. I'm really looking at this like team diversity actually being like insanely valuable has helped out Chaska specifically. I think Chaska is probably the #1 character who has benefited from Stygian at all. I think if you were to look at every single character and look at, okay, this character, you know, how good were they before Stygian? How good are they after Stygian? Chaska has the biggest percentage increase, I feel like, out of anything. Absolutely. I don't even think it's a question. This character was a dud on my account, and yet I have actively gone out of my way to see how good she is in Stygian because it is so shockingly good. This character, the glow up she's had, because it's also just purely single target, right? It's another thing. We are now in a heavy single target meta, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon. Characters like Mavwika are gonna still be good. I know a lot of people were preying on Mavwika's downfall for multi-wave content. Not happening. Sorry, bud. It just isn't, because Mavwika, one, she wasn't bad in multi-wave content. That was just a myth that people, made up because, oh, we don't actually have multi-wave right now. That's where she's gonna be bad at. No, she actually ended up not being bad at all in multi-wave content. Maybe once they start having like 500,000 HP, she can be bad. But, honestly, more than 500,000, needs 600,000. But I don't see Mavwika having an issue in multi-wave content. So yeah, team diversity, huge. And now, let's talk about the big thing. Anefa, when you take her against the Cactus boss, El Cacto, if you will, she actually like triples her damage output. So I'm going to show you guys how much damage Anefa is going to be doing here, because it is genuinely way more than she's going to be doing anywhere else. So we see 27,000 and 31,000, right? We just got to take some electro damage, right? 56. Okay. Yeah, 59. Okay. Yeah. 60. So it's just continuously 90. 73. 66. Okay. So, okay, I understand it now. From what I've seen, all that is basically when the guy's a hat, he takes more damage, and it is a lot more damage from Electrocharge and Lunar Charge. If we go ahead and we go to the Capybara, of course. So same sort of idea here, and we can see 39,000, 31,000, 36, 39. Yeah, aka not 90,000. Not 90,000. What this means is that they are going to start really pushing for new characters and new gimmicks to be what you use in Stygian. That's just something that I'm going to flat out tell you guys. Be prepared. This is not just an Anefa thing. This is going to happen to every character. Every single new character that comes out is going to have a boss dedicated to them. And, oh no, they coincidentally deal 300% more damage than the rest of the game. Well, you should summon, something to note. Genshin has entered this new state of, it's not that it's impossible to do it without these new characters, but if you get the new character, like, I made a whole video where Anefa just carried everybody against the Cactus boss. Sorry, I hit you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anefa carried everyone. I used Eula, and Eula defeated the Cactus boss. No, it's just easy, right? Like, it doesn't matter, right? We'll see how they handle main DPSs, right? Obviously, but it's very, very clear that new characters are gonna be heavily favored in Stygian. Getting a lot of the new 6.0 characters is going to be a huge thing for any 6.0 Stygian, because guess what's gonna happen when we start to get reruns? Coincidentally, the boss that we had when, I forget their names, when Flynn was out, oh no, the boss that was out when he, released, it turns out that he's back in rotation on, Flynn's rerun. I don't know, chat. I'm just looking at that and I'm like, no, that's a little weird, sir. I'm just saying, I really do think that what we're going to be seeing from now on is bosses that are strictly based around the new character. Not like, this one reaction, I think it's going to be the new character is going to be what is, we're really looking at. Now, it's going to be labeled as the new reaction, but let's be honest, Lunar Charge gets extra damage? Well, who's able to do Lunar Charge in the game right now, chat? Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, it's an Effa. It's an Effa, the newly released 5.8 character. I believe, Genshin has really changed with Stygian, and I think depending on how they handle it, this could be very, very fun. The way they need to handle this is to be more generous. So basically what I mean by that is that they need to start giving out, old free 5 stars, right? Just when we have our 5-star selector, don't limit us to just the standard banner. I think that's absolutely going to be what the number one thing I would say is. And then I think the next thing that we should do is start giving more summons per update and, have the events give more summons. Because if you're going to sit here and, be like, summon for this character, I'm just saying you're introducing hard content. Dokkan literally gave us 2 44% chances to get the new character, one of the 4 new characters. We will see how this ages and how this will affect 6.0, because 6.0 I think is the anniversary update from, someone pointed out that it lined up as the anniversary update, which will be interesting. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.